G'day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How you going?
Perfect, and you?
Yeah, going really good. Really excited to chat to you.
All right, please begin however you so desire.
Hey, yeah, I wanted to ask a few questions. One of the questions was kind of to do with about knowingness.
Yes,
And you've said before that I think you're referring to us too, but you say you know what you need to know when you need to know it.
yes.
Um,
You are gaining experience with that idea so that you don't necessarily have to use the concept of memory in the way that you've been using it. You will know through synchronicity exactly what you need to know, exactly at the moment you need to know it. Not a second before, but not a second later. This will become more common as your species accelerates its vibration.
all right. So I wanted to kind of put that to the test to understand the parameters of how that worked a bit more. And like, so and like, it might be the case that because you've already pointed it out, in given circumstances,
Yes.
the relevant information will come through, as you stated. But I was
Yes.
going to say, like, let's say if you were in a circumstance where there was a hard drive and you couldn't recover the password through conventional means,
Yes.
could you use your intuition and your knowingness to understand what the password was?
You could, and all you have to do that is continue down whatever path you are capable of continuing down that represents following the formula, acting on your highest passion to the best you can, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome is going to be, and remaining in a positive state, no matter what happens. That is the state of being that will allow, if it's relevant, you to have that information. If you are doing that, following that formula as precisely as you can, and that information doesn't come, that should be your first clue that you don't actually need it in the way you think you do.
Right. So it actually serves you to maybe not have the information in some context as well.
Sometimes, or again, you're simply giving yourself the opportunity to practice getting it in a different way. But following the formula is the way that will let you know whether or not that information is relevant for you. Because if it is, nothing will stop it when you're in that state.
Right. And what I also wanted to ask too, because you proposed the challenge about the collective consciousness of the Essasani has the information regarding a title of a transmission. And so
Yeah.
I wanted to sort of asking with knowingness as well, what if does does there have to be a reference point of where you're actually tuning in to get the information? Um, or can you just have a knowingness in general? Like, can
You
that be?
can in general, but we have given this idea of this interaction in this way to have a little bit of fun with all of you, to have you play a little bit. So you don't have to focus on it too strongly. Just go with the flow and see what comes up when you think about that idea.
For that particular, yeah, yeah. Right, because I was thinking about, like, if you had, like, a circuit board, did you need to be like a stone speaker, so to speak, and understand the mineral consciousness to have that talk to you?
We did not offer you an interactive opportunity that would be that difficult.
Oh, yeah, cool, cool. And, also, just on another topic, I wanted to sort of talk about, um, how Willa was going and
Yeah.
what, in Willa's timeline,
Yes.
uh what kind of technological manifestations does she have upline, like, that they exhibit that you'd be excited to talk about that's different to now?
Well, there are many, many, many. But of course, remember that we are far beyond that technology as well. She is 700 years ahead of you, but our civilization is 3,000 years ahead of you. Nevertheless, there are many things that are existing in Willa's timeline that are quite wonderful. The idea of what we have referred to before as the Shadok. Do you know that or remember that?
Can you please re-explain Shadok?
It sort of looks loosely like the idea of what you might refer to as your Stonehenge. But as you pass between the upright stones, it's a teleport system that takes people anywhere on the planet in the blink of an eye.
Oh, wow. And that takes their physicality there as well?
Yes, literally, a teleport system.
Whoa, and that's possible.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Um,
Now, it doesn't operate the way your scientists might think it does. It operates in a very different way. It operates more similarly to the idea we have described about how our spacecraft go from star to star in the blink of an eye. It's a very different principle than what many of your scientists are thinking about at this point. But by Willis time, they have understood this idea and have incorporated it into a teleportation system around the planet.
And what do they use to facilitate? And what do the Essasani or the Sasanian people use to facilitate? Do you still use electricity, or is there other forms of technology that you use?
There are other forms. There are many other forms. We can use sometimes what is called positronic energy. We can utilize what many people on your planet are beginning to refer to as 0 point energy. Now, there can be electrical side effects to many of these things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that only electricity is involved.
Is there anything inherently negative about using electricity, or
No, not inherently. It just depends upon the frequencies that you choose to create that determine whether it is in harmony or in dissonance to the vibrations of your bioelectric and biomagnetic fields of your bodies. It's all about resonance. It's all about harmonics. It's not about the thing necessarily itself. It's how you use it.
and how has that changed the effects to nature by having teleportation? How has that influenced the planet?
Well, again, it is totally in harmony with it because it's using natural principles. It's not a technology that in any way, shape, or form has any detrimental side effects.
Oh, right. And is that facilitating greater ability to care for nature, or greater?
Oh, well, yes, but in Willis time, remember that they have long since deconstructed and restored the planet to a much more natural state. There is actually, in their understanding of history, after the hybrids land and start living among you, there will literally be, from your point in the future, but from their point in the past, there will literally be a period of time referred to as deconstruction and restoration of the planet.
Yeah, that's really exciting and amazing. Um,
Yes.
well, maybe sort of slightly related to this, I wanted to ask: do hybrid? Uh, oh, yeah. Well, how could that look? That so we are as we are now, and then we could possibly moving into the six hybrid race.
That will happen eventually, yes. Willa is in the process of that. Her time period is in the process of becoming the sixth hybrid race, much farther along than what you are right now.
Oh, right. And do they utilize? There was a questioner that came on, I think, last year, and um, you and him had a discussion about mathematics with geometric shapes.
Yes, we interpret the idea of scientific principles more through the idea of geometric symbols rather than through the idea that you use of mathematical notation.
And it sounded very advantageous. You was talking about a tetrahedron and that you could
Yeah.
actually do physics in a greater way. And I was wondering, if do hybrid children, are they taught mathematics with geometric shapes, or are they?
They're taught many different things, and again, because they have to blend into your society, it might be to their advantage for some of them to be excited about learning mathematical notation. Others may be more excited about the geometric form, and others may be more excited about other forms from other cultures as well. So it just depends upon the proclivity of the particular hybrid child as to what they are attracted to by acting on their passion.
And so is that all being? I mean, there could be lots of beings involved in this orchestration. Is that
Which orchestration are you referring to? The hybridization agenda?
yeah, or the teaching as well? So you've stated that the first ones will be the Yael. Is it that?
No, no, no. The Yael will be the first hybrids that might make open contact with Earth, but the Shalanaya are the hybrid children that will eventually come to live among you physically on the Earth.
Yalanaya. And are they? So is that the genetics of our current human society? Is that what's that mixed with? Or
The Greys, which are other mutated humans, and a smattering of other extraterrestrial beings throughout the cosmos.
and so to speak, is that going on right now?
Oh, yes, it's been going on for quite some time. Has shifted now from the idea of the extraction of genetic material into the education of the hybrid children to allow them to practice learning how to live among you. So now it's gone into the acclimation phase.
And so this society that you indicated that Willa was moving towards, is that the same as saying the new Atlantis?
Well, you can call it that if you wish, but it's far beyond that idea. The idea of going into the sixth hybrid race, with Willa and a few others being the seeds of the seventh, is the idea of the hybrid races, all of them blending into something that we call the Anuhet, which is the seventh hybrid race, which is very different than any of the other six, and will establish the idea of an interstellar alliance that will last for 100,000 years.
And so I wanted to, with the Anu Het, I wanted to ask, like, in creation, is there new existential realities that are kind of like things that are new to creation itself, or all that is actually aware of the Anu Et? Because you've already stated that there are
Yes, of course. In that sense, remember, everything exists all at once. What is, to use your word, new, are the perspectives and experiences of the existence of all that is. So the structure never changes. Everything that exists or will exist already exists now. But the experience of it, the perspective of it, that is what changes constantly and expands the idea of creation. So in a sense, yes, the Anu had already exist, but the experience of what that means, in a sense, is a new creation, just to use loose terms.
Wow, so we could be in for a really exciting ride, seeing that unfold.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing less than.
And that's what you're involved with too, right?
Yes. Or we wouldn't be talking to all of you.
Yeah. Um, and so your reality's like, even though you've stated that it's 10 times faster, is it still concurrent to us? But I guess that doesn't matter to say that because you've said that all.
It doesn't matter. A vibration of violet light is a higher frequency than a vibration of red light, yet they are concurrent in your rainbow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. And I just, how did it, like, so how does creation facilitate the interaction of, because
Creation doesn't facilitate, existence just is. All of the different combinations of everything it can be are, in a sense, by the nature of what they are, by the nature of the frequency they operate on, self-facilitating. Everything simply goes to the level that the vibrational frequency is representative of. So it's not like creation is directing anything. Existence is just what it is. But every manifestation, every variation, every conceivable arrangement within it is self-facilitating simply by the fact that everything exists on a different resonant frequency level.
I just thought it was really exciting that there could even be the concept that the greys could have interaction with us. Like I thought that was yeah, like so that's you've just already sort of stated how that could be so.
Well, yes, they use their technology to tunnel into different parallel realities, including yours, where human DNA was still viable because they had lost the ability to reproduce, being that they used to be another version of Earth and they used to be human. But they mutated themselves because of different things that they chose to do in their technology that destroyed their version of Earth and made them incapable of reproducing.
And so this is a Vesica Pisces third
Yes.
reality where we've interacted with the greys rather
Yes.
than it being one where that hasn't happened.
Yes.
So out of all the spectrum of
Yes.
oh, right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And in old Atlantis, like, were there genetic modification? Like,
There were.
is a mermaid or that is that being actually created from? Are they real creations from?
They were to some degree experiments in genetic manipulation, but the idea in your present day is a representation of an elemental being that doesn't really exist in your dimension exactly, though it can from time to time make itself appear in your reality. But they don't actually live in your ocean in physical reality.
Oh, right. And talking about elemental beings, I wanted to ask. like with the 5G technology and non-ionizing radiation, I wanted to ask, because you stated that if it's in phase with itself, um,
If it's
yeah,
tuned properly, yes.
tuned properly. I wanted to know what nature consciousness and the elementals thought of there being lots of possible non-ionizing radiation, whether they is that considerable to it or negligible to it? Like, does it care?
It depends on the elemental being and the purpose for which they might interact with that kind of energy. We have to take it on a case by case basis.
Case by case. Yeah, because yeah, I thought that was oh, okay. Sorry, I'm going to quickly jump to another question.
All right. But this will be brief because we must move on.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. So I wondered about Moldavite and blue Moldavite if it had been discovered, and how Moldavite relates to Orion, Maldek, Mars, and Earth.
There is a vibrational relationship because it has been in space and represents a certain reflection of a cycle or a lineage from ancient Orion to Maldek to Mars to Earth. So there is some connection, although it represents other things as well. But this is a longer story than we have time to go into now.
No problems, and thank you so much for this manifestation and chatting with you. It's been
Again,
a real honor.
it is our passion and our pleasure. We thank you. Good day.
Good day, highest and best.
Aveo.